right. Good morning. Again, what am I actually trying to do? I'm spending a bit of time with these horses. I'm recording these sessions, partly for people to watch and benefit from. But there's two things. The first thing is I'm feeling more and more calm in myself these days because I took a big break from horses for a couple of years to focus on a different career path. But I do feel like something's missing from me when I'm not with the horses. I'm not working with them. It's been something in my mind, and horses have been part of my life virtually and in imagination and dreams my entire life. When I got older, I started to work with them, and then got to a level where we turned it into a bit of a career to help horses. So anyway, all that aside, I really enjoy being around horses. It does something truly deep and personal for me. So that's the first reason, or the first thing that it does. Second thing I'm noticing is that obviously I'm uploading these videos, and I do watch them, and I critique them myself. I say, okay, what was I talking about there? How did I remember how the horse felt in that particular moment, but how did he look? Is what is happening on the ground in reality the same as what I'm experiencing under saddle? So it's also helping me. And the best thing about this is that we are getting questions about certain issues that people are having with their horses, and they're some of them are asking for advice or an opinion on what they should do or what I would do in that situation. And I thought today there's probably a very common problem, and we're talking about hot-blooded horses here. Whether it's a warm blood or an Arabian or some kind of, I don't know, in the US, quarter horses. When you've got a hot-blooded horse, a lot of people struggle with, when not particularly in an arena setting, but when they go out, onto desert hacks or trail rides or something like that, they find that their horse is he's never calm. He's never able to walk on a loose rein. He's always wanting to, he's prancing around, trotting left and right, trotting sideways. If you ask him to canter, it's like all hell breaks loose, and he if you give him an inch with the reins, he takes off. And I'm saying, okay, it's a common thing that you see, especially with Arabians, and especially in a group situation. So what sort of advice or can I offer? Is I would give you I would want to invite you into thinking in a certain way. So your issue is, for example, when you go out into, I'm just going to keep saying desert because we're in the desert here. If you go out in the desert with your horse and you have an issue, you're able to manage him at the walk, you're able to manage him at the trot, but when he goes into canter, he just loses his mind, and there's nothing you can do. As much as you pull on his mouth, it just doesn't help. The horse gets more and more and more excited. So if, as a high level thing, you would say, my problem is when I ask him to canter in the middle of the desert, he takes off into a gallop and he's very difficult to control. Okay. Now start to think, keep refining to find the core, the root problem, the root cause of that particular issue. So what I would do is I would say, okay, well, can he trot? Not that necessarily that you want him to trot on a loose rein, but can he trot on a loose rein? So if you ask him to trot and you drop the reins, or you don't pull on him at all, is he able to maintain that trot? If the answer is no, then there's a deeper issue. Can you walk him on a loose rein in the desert, going away from the stables and coming back from the stables? If the answer is no, then the problem is a little bit deeper. When you've got him tied up and you want to go and put on your saddle, Does he move a little bit left and right when you go to put on his saddle? If the answer is yes, then the problem is still a little bit deeper. Okay, so when you go to walk to your horse to go and get him from his stable, does he come and greet you, or does he sort of stand away from you, and does his head go up? If the answer is yes, his head does go up and he tenses up a little bit, well, that is exactly where you need to start. Okay, you cannot start with a horse trying to fix a cantering problem outside and work on that. It will do nothing apart from make the problem a million times worse. You've got to keep thinking logically into the root cause of that problem. So if that root cause can be seen when you walk up to the horse at the stable and his head goes up and he starts to feel a little bit nervous, okay, there's an issue there. What is that issue? Issue could be lack of trust. He could hate the fact that you're coming to see him in the stable because the work that you do with him is not enjoyable, it's painful, and he wants to avoid it. You know, it could be any of those reasons. But what I would recommend is put cantering, put trotting, and put walking to the side. Just focus on the process of saddling your horse. Right now, I have not done a single thing with this hot-blooded, spooky Arabian horse. He's, I think, 10 or 11. I've not done a single thing. I haven't yielded him, I haven't trotted him off, I haven't done circles, I haven't done anything. All I've done is I took him out of his stable, tied him up, put on his saddle, and then walked him into the arena, and we've just switched on the camera. Try to fix that, okay? Do it in a way where you are incredibly slow, very relaxed, as if the only job you have to do on that day is to go grab your horse and put a saddle on their back. That's the only job you have. And you need to take as long as possible to get it done, okay? If you're struggling to get this, where the horse stands still, he hasn't been worked, he's just straight out of his stable, 8 o'clock or 8:30 in the morning, they should be feeling quite fresh. But if he's not able to stand still and wait for you, then, you know, let's do another video on that. So let's say that your horse is able to stand still, you know, next to you with the saddle on, okay? So when I'm working alongside of him here, do I notice him raising his head up, getting a little bit nervous, a little bit agitated? Just keeping my attention on him and noticing things, yeah? As much as I can. So before I get on, you can see his hind leg is cocked there. His legs are quite narrow between him. If I was to put my leg in the stirrup, he'd probably, well, he may start to prepare himself for me to get on, so he'd widen his legs. That means he would move. So I want to make sure that he knows that I'm coming and that he's already stable. Easiest way to do that is to grab your saddle or your horse's withers or something and just rock them a little bit like that. He finds his balance, and then pull him towards you a little bit. Now he feels quite solid. So rock him, rock him, rock him. Now he's solid, okay? Then I'm gonna and for this exercise, I'm not gonna even touch the reins. I'm just gonna see what he does. I'm gonna go put my foot in the stirrup. I'm in no hurry to get on, right? I'm just standing here, giving him every chance and every opportunity to walk off if he wanted to walk off. I'm not sneaking on. Okay, maybe jump to the side, grab a bit of mane, count to 3, 1, 2, 3. When I'm on my horse, I'm just gonna breathe out. Relax my entire body, just sit on the horse. So I am in a hurry, but I'm in a hurry to go absolutely nowhere, right? And the more I do this with him, every single time I get on him, we just sit here for 30 seconds maybe, a minute, 2 minutes, whatever it is. You've got to start here. The horse needs to be relaxed mentally before you ever get on. That's the start of fixing any potential cantering problems outside in the desert. So, and I would obviously recommend and suggest that you don't rush things. Take your time. If you are trying to change his mind about something, just do it in a gradual way where you're making progress every single day, and he starts to understand that there's consistency to everything. There's a logic to everything. He has the answers to every question. Don't surprise them with things. Don't, for example, go from, that light switch that we were talking about. Don't go from off to on. So I wouldn't grab the rein and go bap on his mouth. I wouldn't kick him with my legs. Everything is a gradual buildup of the question. I keep turning up the volume of that question until he hears it. Very nice, nice breathing out there. Until he hears the question properly and he responds, and then I just release it. So it's a logical way of working with your horse. Take it slow. So I do feel like he's learning that he's allowed to stand and do nothing. I like that. But anyway, moving on, let's say that he is calm. And we're going to do all of these checks and tests with him today, okay? We're going to make sure he walks on a loose rein, he trots on a loose rein, and he's able to canter on a loose rein without wanting to take off with me, okay? And I'm going to show you ways of doing that. And before we get there, because we've got some guys working on something in the arena, just moving the sand around, making it a little bit more level. As I'm waiting for them to finish, I'll take you through the process. So I ask him to walk. Right now he's listening, he's waiting for me to even, suggest something to him. I know he'll respond immediately. Let's say I just ask him to walk. He walks off. I feel like he's starting to pick up his pace. He's thinking about trotting. What I would do is I'd bend him around, or I'd do some kind of a transition. Maybe I'd pick up on 2 reins. He knows how to stop, give with his head and neck, and then take a couple of steps backwards. He's actually getting quite good at it. So I can use transitions. Transitions is just a change. Think of it as transitions are like the difference between speed, the definition of speed and velocity. So speed is how fast you're going, regardless of the direction. Velocity requires speed, but also direction. So with velocity, for example, your velocity would change if you're going in a straight line at a certain speed, and then you turn at the same speed. You've changed your velocity because you've changed your direction. So think of that in the same way with horses. It's not about really speed that you want, it's about velocity. Changes in some kind of a transition in the horse's mind, okay? It could be speed only, or it could be direction. Use those two. So direction would be bending, yielding. Speed would be slowing down to a walk, or slowing down to a trot, or even going negative speed, let's say, going backwards. So we're going to be doing a lot of transitions. Walk, stop, walk, stop, walk, stop for a few minutes until I see and you see that the horse is absolutely, definitely, 100% not thinking about trotting off. Then I'm going to say, well, that's a sign for me to push it into the trot. So we'll ask him to trot, walk, trot, walk, trot, walk. Or you could do trot, stop, trot, stop, trot, stop. It's up to you, depending on your horse. If he's a really hot-blooded horse, I would go trot, walk, trot, walk, trot, walk, or trot, bend, trot, bend, trot, bend. Because they're going to find it hard to keep their feet still and stop if they're kind of hot-blooded and feeling excited. Then once I feel like I've got him on a loose rein and he will trot, you know, on a loose rein without any guidance all over the place, and he won't break gait, he won't come back to a walk, he won't take off in a canter, that's a signal for me to take it to the next level as well. Then I would ask for the canter. So canter, back to trot, or walk, or bend, you know. Canter, transition, canter, transition, canter, transition. And that canter could be 4 or 5 steps or strides, or it could be 1, or it could be 15, depending on what I feel with the horse. At the end of that, you know, walk, stop, trot, walk, canter, trot, or canter, walk exercise, he will always be thinking, when this guy asks me to go, I'm just going to be waiting for the next time he asks me to do the transition. So we've got his mind. Now we've got his mind. We don't need to work him physically and get him time. We've got his mind. He's asking the question, when are you going to ask me to trot? When are you going to ask, if he's cantering, when are you going to ask me to trot? When are you going to ask me to trot? Imagine that you're the horse, cantering, knowing that somebody's going to blow a whistle and say, trot. So you're going to be waiting for that whistle, so you won't be cantering so fast. Make sense? You're always going to be waiting for a little bit of a transition. So in theory, the horse should go slower. So that's what we're going to do today. Anyway, I'm going to switch it off now, wait for these guys to finish, and then we'll switch it back on.